G'day everybody, welcome to the 1000 subscriber live stream party. Hopefully we get there. I've got the subscriber count up on screen. I think if you looked at the thumbnail yesterday when I posted the live stream, we were sitting at approximately, hang on a sec. G'day everybody, welcome to the approximately 954, so 10 subs overnight. It's looking good. I thought if I go live, there's every chance we could hit 1,000 while I'm having a chat with you all. So if you are on stream, make sure you hit the like button, share it around, get as many people on here as we can. By all means, post any questions to me in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And I'd love to talk to you guys about OMAD and the OMAD diet and anything you want to know about my lifestyle. It's been a pretty busy morning. It's midday almost here in Saskatchewan, sort of middle of Canada, if you don't know where that is. And it's quite cool, but it's not snowing, which is good. And this morning I've been watching the football or the soccer, one of my favourite things to do on the weekend. I watched Tottenham versus Wolverhampton. I'm a big Ange Postecoglou fan. He used to coach my home team club, Brisbane Roar. And now he's in the Premier League, so I've been keeping track of his games. And unfortunately, they had a late, they conceded a late goal at Wolves to lose the game. I think it was in the last minute, so that was disappointing for Ange. And I don't really care for Tottenham, but yeah, they're playing well, so tough for them. And then my boys Everton had a game against Crystal Palace, and we got a win, 2-3 against Palace. Excellent. That's another result. We need to get at least 12 points because if we get charged with the financial fair play breaches, we might lose 12 points this season. So we need to get the points on the board in case we do get points deduction. We might keep us out of that relegation zone. But yeah, go Toffees. Well done. We're hanging in there. And I think Dyche ball, although it's not my preferred style of football, for those people that don't know, Sean Dyche is a pragmatic manager who likes to play a 4-4-2 and he likes to sit in and be very what's the nicest way I can say it, defensive, very structured, very organized, and then hit teams on the break. And it's a pretty old school way of playing, but in reality we haven't had much success in the last few years, so we need to do something just to get some results. And credit to him, he's getting the runs on the board and he's better than the previous couple of coaches we had, Lampard and Benitez. Anyway, if you're an Everton fan, even just a Premier League fan, pop a question to me in the chat. Be happy to answer it. So this week, I've been meaning to post a few more vlogs, but like anyone who's a creator, it is sometimes difficult to live your life, but also document your life and then also edit and post videos. And I mean, that's just an excuse, and I really want the channel to grow, so I need to be posting a lot more long form videos. So hopefully this week I can keep you up to date with some posts. But essentially this week I was working and I went down to Salt Lake City, actually Park City for a conference with work. I'm just showing you some photos of where I got to stay, Stein Eriksen Resort in Deer Valley, which we've stayed at before. My company uses this place for a lot of getaways. Their head office is in Utah, so it's pretty close, and it's the second time I've been there. But yeah, look at those pictures, and that's what it looked like. We just had sort of 4 inches of snow. It was really beautiful. Yeah, it was a good time, so I just thought I'd show you guys what I've been up to. I did sort of do a little vlog filming in the airport, but I haven't put the vlog together anyway. So yeah, unfortunately it looks like we dropped a subscriber since the stream started. That's a pretty bad omen, but anyway, it's a bit of fun. Hopefully you're enjoying keeping track of the channel. In terms of the channel, I've had a real bump lately in subscriber count. I think I've had like 300 subs in the last 60 days or so, which is, more than double I had in the previous sort of 8 months before that. So that's excellent. I appreciate everyone's support. I've been doing a lot of shorts reaction videos, which, started out like anything. I was just experimenting with reaction videos, and lately they seem to be getting a lot of traction. A lot of people are sort of watching those shorts and they're getting a lot of attention and therefore a lot of subscribers. So I'm really enjoying it. Oh, hello Joanne. I see that there's a question there. Do you know why some OMAD people start losing hair after 4 or 5 months? Well, I don't know what you're trying to say, but I don't know. I'm of a certain vintage where hair loss is probably par for the course. I do hear a lot of anecdotal sort of complaints that doing fasting, doing OMAD, even some people say doing keto accelerates hair loss. I'm not a dermatologist or a doctor. I can't really comment whether that's valid in terms of a cause and effect, but it is often brought up. And I don't know, I think for me, my observation, let's look at this sort of in the realms of what's more probable. Most people that start fasting are of a certain age or a certain vintage, and they usually move to a fasting or an OMAD lifestyle because they're trying to lose some weight. So this is just my opinion. There's a correlation between aging and hair loss already, and when you combine that with fasting, you can draw the connection. But look, I think, perhaps there is something to it. Like I said, I can't comment. I'm not a dermatologist. I myself haven't personally experienced accelerated hair loss. Like I said, I'm at a certain age where I'm going to start losing my hair anyway. My dad is completely bald, and he was bald by the time he was sort of in his mid-20s when he got married. So, I think I've genetically outlasted expectations, and a lot of my mates are envious of me, and they probably expect me to go bald first, but I probably got my hair from my mum. But I don't really think there's a true link between fasting and hair loss. But if anyone has any evidence or any articles they'd like to share me, I'd love to check in on it. Oh, great, we got a sub. Thank you for whoever subbed. Make sure you like the stream, guys, and we'll see if we can get a bit of broader audience. But thanks for the question, Joanne, and appreciate your support on the channel. In terms of other questions that I've been getting, I often get asked on my channel, I'm doing OMAD, yes, and I had some success with weight loss, particularly early in the OMAD journey. Like in the first 60 days, I rapidly lost 25 pounds or 14 kilos or so. And am I doing anything else in combination with OMAD? And the one that a lot of people typically ask me about is the carnivore. Am I doing carnivore as well? And I guess that's just a really popular diet at the moment. I mean, you had like the Liver King sort of phase or craze perhaps, and a lot of people in the OMAD and fasting space generally are looking at the same content. And if you're like me, my feed gets filled with fasting stuff, keto stuff, OMAD stuff, carnivore stuff, and sure, it's interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people have success with the carnivore diet. I personally haven't done anything on OMAD that would be considered another form of dieting. I think initially I read the book, let me go back a step. If you check on my channel, there's a video about my mum's weight loss experience. She lost 50 pounds over the course of about 6 months. She came and visited us when my son was born, and they stayed with us for about 8 weeks. And I was really inspired by what my mum did in terms of losing weight. And she followed Michael Mosley's Fast 800 diet. And there's a great book, if you haven't read Fast 800, it's another of one of Michael Mosley's diet books. He also did, I forget what it was called, but he basically looked into the 5 and 2 fasting method about 10 years prior. And Fast 800 really is just another calorie restriction diet focused on using intermittent fasting and restricting calories to below 800 calories a day, which seems like really low, but you got to remember this is targeted at severely obese people that are not having success on other diets. And I don't believe it's unsafe to eat that low of calories, and he only recommends doing that for about 12 weeks anyway, because the evidence shows not necessarily that diets fail because they're low calorie diets. Diets fail because you're not having results quick enough. And if you can really restrict your calories in that first 12 weeks, you'll have much greater benefits in terms of rapid weight loss, and therefore a motivation and sort of the psychology takes over. Anyway, so I followed that, and it does recommend having less than 50 grams of carbs a day, which is not ridiculously low carb, but that's what I initially started with. I didn't go as low as 800 every day, 800 calories in my one meal a day, but I certainly managed the carbs down to about 50 grams, which is a lot of carbs still. Like there's about 12, 15 grams in a slice of bread. So you could still have traditional carbs eating that way against a Fast 800 diet. But myself, I didn't really restrict anything. I didn't do keto. I didn't do really low carb. I did a little bit of calorie restriction early on, but as the time progressed, I didn't focus too much on calorie restriction. I just ate what I felt like eating in my eating window. So yeah, carnivore, I guess, will work for some people. And it's like the keto diet. It should put you in a fair state of ketosis. You naturally, it's hard to eat a lot of protein because of the bulk and the density of the protein, and it also has that thermogenic effect. So if you're eating a high protein diet, your body needs to actually burn calories to digest the food more so than if you're eating sort of other foods. So that's a factor as well. I'm sure carnivore is great for people. The main thing that I struggle with carnivore diet, and I see some people's like, I did a reaction video on a carnivore, what I eat in a day actually recently, was it must be really expensive to eat nothing but meat and protein and eggs all the time. Like, forget about what you think about the diet. Like, from a cost perspective, man, particularly red meat is so expensive. So I'm always mindful of cost. I mean, I've got a family of 5 and we live a pretty conservative lifestyle, and therefore why would you be out there eating, like, I'm sure it's just for the clicks, but tomahawk steaks and ribeye every day, and massive burger patties and all that sort of stuff. So like, just the cost of that, I wouldn't think is sustainable. But I'm sure if you're having results on carnivore, you're willing to bear that cost. So power to you. So yeah, myself, I don't necessarily have any other type of diet along with OMAD, but I have been reflecting on that recently. I like I said, I lost 25 pounds straight out of the gates, and I've just sort of yo-yoed between, up and down 5-10 pounds. And I'm sorry for all of my Australian listeners. Now that I've migrated to North America, I'm speaking in pounds more frequently. But yeah, kilograms wise, I can fluctuate anywhere from 3 kilos up or down throughout a month, and a lot of that's probably water and other things. But I certainly haven't been mindful of calories, particularly in the last few weeks with the Halloween period. There's been a lot of high calorie foods that I've been consuming, chocolate, sugary foods, that sort of stuff. So personally, I want to just go back onto a little bit of a calorie focus leading into the holiday period, and we're going on a cruise for New Year's Eve, and that'll be in warmer weather. So nice just to be able to get the overall weight back down, that 5 kilograms, that 10 pounds that I'd like to be. Otherwise, I've been on OMAD for a year, and after losing 25 pounds, without thinking about it consciously, I've kept the weight off. And, I haven't had to go, oh, geez, I better not eat this or I better not eat that. I've just focused on eating once a day. So that's me. The other question I always get is, have you... what did I do to my chat? Anyway. Do I ever do refeed days, which again, I think a lot of people are watching or listening to too much sort of fad diet information, or listening to some of those what I call quacks out there. A lot of these people that represent themselves as doctors so-and-so, you know who I'm talking about. There's numerous doctors on YouTube. If you look into their profile a little further, they're actually often not medical doctors, they're chiropractors or other types of what we traditionally call quacks. They got a lot of good content, and I'm sure they research their information well. But this concept of refeed dieting often comes from the fitness industry, particularly like people who do like extreme fat loss diets for bodybuilding and for shows and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't buy into the concept of refeeding. I'm not at that level. I would call it cheat days, and I think that's what people are talking about. Do I do OMAD every single day? Do I have a refeed day? Is really saying, do I cheat? Some days do I have more than one meal? Yes, I do. Not frequently though. So I would say perhaps once a month I might do 2MAD, or it's usually on the weekends, and I might have lunch and a meal in the evening. And I'm not stressed about that. I still fast. I haven't eaten breakfast more than maybe 5 times in the last 12 months. That's serious. I think I ate Christmas Day when I travelled internationally back to Australia. My time zones were all a bit out of whack. I think one day I fasted 36 hours, but then the next day I only had a short fast. So, there's a few days in there where I broke I broke the OMAD altogether, but it wasn't planned, like a planned refeed day or a planned cheat day. I just do what I feel like. But I'd say the majority, more than 90% of days, I'm doing 1 meal a day. So yeah, maybe two meals a day, one in every 10 days. And when I put it like that, it's probably even less than that. So that's a guide for me. Also, if you read the book Fast Feast Repeat by Jen Stevens, and I know Jackie, the intermittent fasting foodie, talks about that book a lot, or had some success following that book in early days, and that's where I got a hold of it. That book talks about this up days and down days concept, which is really just having, accepting that some days you might have really high calorie meals, or after you fast you might have really high calorie eating window, and then offsetting that with days where you go, okay, well, there's no need for me to be gorging today. I might focus on having a low calorie day. And then you can use that flexibly around what's going on in your life, whether you got events or parties or functions, and you can therefore manage your overall caloric intake by just being mindful. If you're going to have a big day, like a Thanksgiving meal, maybe 2 meals, offset that with a couple of days of I'm just going to eat really low calorie. And you can still eat low calorie and be very full by eating like very bulky, low calorie dense foods like vegetables in particular, salads, and be satisfied. And you don't feel any different in terms of, personally I don't anyway, if I'm having a low calorie day, in terms of energy. The hardest thing is hunger. I think if you're focusing on low calorie day, don't focus on eating like a bird. Still eat as bulky and bigger food as you can. But yeah, that would be my only thoughts around, do I have refeed days? I call them cheat days, and a cheat day for me is not having a fast that's longer than 16 hours. I usually aim for 20. So yeah, occasionally I do, but I don't plan it. It's not structured. I just go by how I feel. And that's one of the great things about fasting is, as long as you discipline and fast frequently, you can be flexible with it. And if your goal is weight loss, then just be mindful of the calories. It's not rocket science. The other question I commonly get is, I had something happen to my chat and it's disappeared. That's okay. Sorry for the pause there. I often get worried. I often get asked this and it makes me giggle. Again, everyone's a researcher, and we all listen to influencers, and I try to keep it real. I don't know, some people probably don't, and they're probably also faking a lot of their claims about their body and that sort of thing. But anyway, I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not a fitness model. You guys have seen my rather what would you call it? Conservative photos of me with my shirt off. It's not exactly Brad Pitt. But that's okay. My goal is just to be healthy and stick around longer for my kids. But I often get asked, and I'll get to the point, people say to me, am I worried that fasting and doing OMAD is going to destroy my metabolism and give me a slow metabolism? I'm 5'7", at a stretch, and I'm overweight, and I am pretty sedentary. I don't think I really have much of a metabolism to speak of, right? Like, I think, again, this may be, sometimes people want to buy into any excuse they can find to not do something, not try OMAD, for example. And one of the things that people often ask me, it's going to destroy your metabolism. Aren't you worried about your metabolism slowing down and stagnating, and therefore you're never going to be able to lose weight again, or you're going to put all the weight back on, and blah, blah, blah. I already have a slow metabolism. I've never had a fast metabolism. It's just my body type. Just like some people have, are better at endurance activities, and some people are better at, strength activities. It's genetic, right? And so am I worried my metabolism's going to slow even further? Can't get much bloody worse. So no, I don't really buy into that. I personally think it's a bit of a myth. Maybe if you were someone who had like a really super high metabolism in the first place, then you might experience that a slowing, or it might feel like your metabolism's slowing if you were to do a long-term course of intermittent fasting or OMAD. But bloody hell, why are you doing it in the first place? If you've got a really healthy metabolism and food and calories just seem to come in and out of your system, and you don't have a problem maintaining weight, well, what are you doing the OMAD diet for anyway? Like, geez, it's you're not the kind of people that, anyone that's got a fast metabolism probably doesn't need to be dieting. They're probably the kind of people that can, my wife's one of these people, I hope she can't hear me. She can just think about dieting and then start losing weight. You know, like she you know, like anyone, as we get older, we struggle with keeping the weight off, but she's so active, and mentally she's always stimulated, physically she's always doing something. Her energy expenditure must be through the roof. Her metabolism is fantastic. I've never seen her have to really focus on dieting, right? No, like anyone, if she overeats, she's going to put on weight, but if she wants to lose weight again, she just needs to be focused on it. So anyway, if you are worried about your metabolism slowing down, I would say you're probably worried about the wrong things. And you can also manage your own metabolism. Like if you think that eating less is going to slow your metabolism, why don't you exercise more and boost it? Why don't you try different types of activity? Why don't you flex your caloric intake in your eating windows? There's so much things you can do to manage your metabolism and, you know, keep the body guessing, that kind of thing. So, you know, one of the people asked me this question the other day, and I thought it was really, you know, it's a really interesting question. I've thought about it, but I said, look, I would do like I just described, do some up days and down days. Do some days where you're going to have really high protein and some days where you're going to have really low carb in your eating window, and then flex that around another day. Keep the fiber up. Like, your metabolism is helped by having good fiber in your diet. So fiber and insoluble fiber is the part of the food that's just going to, like, you imagine your digestive system goes like this, and then it ends with the thing. You know the thing that it ends with, right? You know the thing. Fiber, it's insoluble. It's not going to be digested by your body, turned into anything that you can use for sustenance, like glucose or sugars, or it's not going to have the proteins taken out of it to become the building blocks of your body. So that insoluble fiber just pushes through your digestive system and just keeps going right through, and on the way through it grabs some of the other stuff with it, some of the other fats and glycerides and that sort of thing, and it goes right down that little thing at the end, and it keeps your stools healthy. So I was actually watching myself do the description. I think they did a pretty good job. So yeah, if you're worried about your metabolism, check how much fiber you're eating. And even if you're doing like a carnivore or a keto diet, there is no reason you can't add a cup of vegetables to every meal. It's not going to be high carb. Like a cup of mixed frozen vegetables, so I'm talking corn, insoluble fiber, carrots, lots of fiber, peas, lots of fiber, but they have carbs. But, you know, a serving size is not going to be enough carbs to bump you out of a keto. If that's what you're doing, it's not going to trigger an insulin response. And if you put that in every meal, your poops will thank you, and your metabolism will be better for it. So anyway, those are my thoughts. So the 1,000 subscriber part of the party seems to have not quite worked out. I'm going to do a refresh, see if that changes. This is supposed to be live. Still at the same amount of subs, so, you know, it happens sometimes. Still haven't got any comments in the chat, so that's fine too. Listen, I've been online now for going on, let me see. I actually don't know. It's been going on almost 30 minutes. So thanks for those that joined in the chat. Appreciate the support on the channel, like I said. If you've got any questions and you weren't able to join us live, pop them in the comments below. I answer and respond to every comment on my channel. I'm small enough that that's manageable and easy enough to do. Stay tuned on the channel. Like I said, I'll be putting more vlog updates, more long form videos. If you're enjoying the shorts and the reaction videos, thank you as well. And we'll catch you all next time. See you later, guys.